You've tuned into Tomcat Tales, the story of Ashland's legends from the gridiron, the court, the diamond, and beyond. It's a deep dive into Ashland Tomcat sports history. Now, here's your host, Mark Maynard.
Well, welcome to another episode of Tomcat Tales, and we are once again with Herb Conley, coach of the Tomcats from 1968 to 76. And Herb, we're at the last year of your Tomcat coaching, and 76, interesting year in itself. Jimmy Carter was elected president. Son of Sam, the murderer in New York, made his first killing and terrorized New York for the next year. Remember Son of Sam?
I sure do.
They made movies and books and everything else about him. And of course, it was the country's bicentennial, so a big event going on with that. The Reds were World Series champs. They swept the Yankees. Considered one of the greatest teams of all time.
They probably were, because I remember them, Pete Rose and Johnny Bench.
Oh yeah,
I always was a big Reds fan too.
Yeah, it's that was a great team, and of course didn't win another World Series for another 14 years, and now we're waiting again. So I don't know, when that next one will come. But 76 was an interesting year for the Tomcats as well. You're coming off the Jaws team, as they called them, the 14-1, just a beloved team, wasn't it?
Yes, they were very the community. Not only community, Mark, the whole area took that name and accepted that. Boyd County, Russell people, they were real nice about it. They'd go, "Hey, Jaws,"
Yeah, they got behind you.
Yeah, they got behind them, and it was a really great atmosphere for that whole year. So set the stage for. And then I went down to Myrtle Beach down there after and stayed for a long time every year, and it just turned out great.
Were the boys? Did they ever get over their fear of sharks?
I don't think so. It's been a long time since I've been with them, but I've been down there with Greg and Sean anyway.
Yeah, we were laughing because that's how the Jaws team got named. For you who maybe didn't hear the Jaws episode, you guys were vacationing and Janice was getting a little worried about how far the boys were going out, and you said, "Well, there's a movie on, and we'll just take them to that." And that movie was Jaws that he took them to, and that pretty much cured going out into the water, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it sure did. It was a blessing in disguise for many reasons. We kept them out of the water, and then the all transformed from use that Jaws as a great something for a football team.
Oh yeah, the team really rallied around that, and the community did, like you said. And I think back on Ashland history, and there's not another team that has a nickname that I know of. In all of Ashland history, that's the only team that I know of.
Exactly. I don't know if anyone ever come up with a name. And it kind of scared me too, because we were doing so well. Tomcats are what we are. And then in the Jaws, I said, "Man, I don't know about this." It's going to got bigger and bigger and bigger. Jaws team is really remembered around here in the community.
And a lot of they call them, and they just do that. They call them, the Jaws Tomcats or the Jaws team.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. And still, like you say, a very well remembered team. They didn't win the state championship. Just things were really weird then. Jefferson County it has its own league and basically own division, and then the two met. But you did win the state at large championship. You beat everybody in the state, except Louisville.
Yeah, the big schools.
Yeah, all those Louisville scores were tough, and they eventually disbanded that system. Actually,
we ran into it at the wrong time at that. The big boys down.
Because I think if it was just a normal AAA year, that team wins it easy.
Oh, I think so too. I think we would have been it'd been a big letdown or something if anybody could have beaten us.
And we're getting ready to talk about 76, and a lot of those guys are back. Not a lot, but a few of those guys are back that played on that Jaws team that were really good players.
Yeah, very good players. We had some. I think this 1976 team, Mark. They were a team that weren't blessed with a lot of talent, but the talent we had, the guys that were really talented, were real good football players.
Yeah, like Gary Thomas,
Yancey Ramey,
Shippey,
Jay Shippey. You can name a couple more.
Yeah.
But like in '75, we had a lot of guys on that. The whole line was tough. Only we just had one lineman back.
Wow.
See?
Yeah.
And when you take away Casey Jones and
Terry Bell
and Gary Lewis and, of course,
Big Raymond Hicks.
Raymond Hicks is gone. And Yancey's the only one left.
Yeah.
You know?
So you had to kind of rebuild that line.
Rick Sing's gone
right.
tied in. And the split end is Keith Hillman. He's gone. You know, we had a lot of talented kids.
Oh, yeah.
And speed. A lot of speed. Our linemen were fast.
Right.
I bet you Terry Bell was lined up. He could probably beat a lot of backs.
Oh yeah, he could. He's an athlete. I mean, he could dunk a basketball.
Oh, I mean, he weighed about. I think we listed him at probably 220. I'd say he's around 230.
Yeah, every bit.
Yeah,
and strong as an ox.
He's big, strong.
This team, you know, I think when you come off those years like that, though, you gain some confidence, and you come in with some confidence, and I think this team did that. They thought we're going to be good. We got Gary Thomas back. We got Shippy back. I mean, that's three great players there to build around. You know, and I know it takes a lot more than. You know, it takes really to be really good. You need 15 to 20, probably, or more.
If you're going to be good, you're going to at least have that many.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and be good people. And because you look at our schedule, we didn't have. We had a few teams that were weak, but
not many.
9. If we played 14 games, I could pick maybe one that'd be a weak team.
Yeah, this was the year that the Tri-State Athletic Conference did start. I think.
Yeah,
it was the first year of the year.
We won that.
Yeah, the year.
You know what? Here's what I think about that conference. We were in it in 75. You know, we started, but it didn't. Right. We didn't determine a winner. We won it. We won all of our games. So we'd have won it that year. We come back in 76 when it
really started.
Declared a winner. We won the conference. Nothing's ever been said about that. You know, for 76 team, you never hear we won. We got a trophy over there someplace, and that we won. I think they put that in a trophy case. Not too long ago. It is a big thing. You're talking about playing. It was this Boyd County, Russell, Ashland, Greenup, Huntington East and Huntington High, Portsmouth, Ironton.
That's a killer league.
I think
Barbersville was in there too. They were,
and that was the league. There were some good football teams.
You win that, you're a team.
Yeah, and so that 76 team, you know, conquered something that never been done. You know,
it's for sure. You know, a great team, and we're going to get into that here in just a second. Herb, this was your last Tomcat team. You're still a fairly young guy, really, for a coach. I mean,
you're 34.
Yeah, that's young. You know, you see guys coaching now into their 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Bob Sang coached for 50 years, and Ivan coached, you know, a long time. Ivan McGlone coached a long time. And Vic, and, you know, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
So why, and I know you ended up coaching a little later at Sims Valley, but, you know, what happened? Why was this the last year?
Well, you know, Janice and I talked, you know, we'd go in the summers and take the boys to Myrtle Beach, and she loved it. And so she said, I think it's time for you to retire, and let's go down and spend some time at Myrtle Beach. And I said, okay. So we'd spend a lot of more time down there. And then we kept staying longer and longer and longer. And then when I really retired and quit, that's in about 2000, I think, from Sims Valley over there. We stayed down there 7-8 months out of the year, and she wanted to move there. I said, I've done everything.
Couldn't pull that one, right?
No, I don't want to move. I said, we'll stay a long time, 7-8 months, but I don't want to.
So you were there most of the year.
Oh, yeah, most of the year we were there.
Mm-hmm. So it was more of a family decision, not.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't tired of coaching.
No, I really would have liked to have stayed a little more, but I wanted to be with her.
Yeah. So you were in '76. You were actually an assistant principal. You weren't a teacher anymore. You were in administration.
Yes.
At the high school. Was that your first year?
That was my first year as assistant principal. Yeah. In administration.
Mm-hmm. So
I did both. I coached.
That probably made a little more money too, right?
Oh yeah, made a lot more money.
Yeah, because you didn't get a whole lot for coaching. I guess.
No, back in those days, you know, when I coached, but most we ever got was the head coach got 2,400, the assistant got 16.
That was your coaching salary, was 2,400.
Yeah, and that was the whole from the time I started to the time I left.
And I think people need to understand how much time it takes, and how much time it takes away from families.
Oh yeah,
and especially I think even more so maybe in your day because of how the filming was done, and everybody had to do the film.
Oh yes, we had to study films, and I worked on it not just during football season. We had guys lifting weights and doing that. And I had Coach Ross breaking down films, and then I'd look at the films and.
Off season.
Then we'd meet. The coaching staff would meet during the year to go over the things we looked at. We did well. Some techniques we may need to change, and some offense that we wanted to add to it. Always looked at trying to add a little more offense, add some defense to our defensive schemes, and then go look at college films. We looked at a lot of college films and different.
See what you could do different.
See the different coverages. There's a lot of we had about 2,000 something calls.
Wow. On
defense, and then we'd have to sit down, during the season, and we'd find out what plays we wanted to run offensively against that defense, and then we wanted to know how we're going to stop their offense by putting the defense in a good position where we could make the plays. Mm-hmm. And then that's a key to coaching. If you you got to get them in the right spot to be able to play the technique to get them to the ball. And we studied the films in college, and then we want to find out we'll look at this technique, and then say, well, I'd send Bill Tom a lot of times down to Moorhead and talk to Jake, and Larry Marmee, a good friend of mine, played at Eastern with him, and of course Larry was a defense coordinator at Tennessee under what's the guy's name that had that real good running streak, about 10 years. They were really good.
Fulmer.
Mm-hmm.
Philip Fulmer.
Yeah. And they were winning big.
Won a national championship.
And then after that, he got hooked up with John Cooper, and they went to
Arizona State.
Arizona. And he was out there, and then he became the head coach at Arizona State.
Right.
And I had some opportunities.
You could have coached longer.
I could have kept going a little bit, but it would mess Janice and I's plans up, so we didn't.
And you have three boys who are now. Getting they're 12, 13. That's tough age. That they're coming up, and she was doing most of the parenting, I guess.
Yes.
With you coaching and everything. So it was time for you to help out a little bit.
Exactly.
So it was a family decision as much as it was anything. And getting the promotion to administration. They don't like coaches and administrators to be the same. I mean, I don't know if they do a little bit of that.
They changed that after a few years.
Yeah. But at that time, they really didn't want that to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. So not to get too far ahead, but at 77, first time you went to Putnam after you're not the coach, was that hard? You remember that?
That was last time I stayed at Ashland at high school until it was I was assistant principal 7 years, so it was the
83 or so.
83. It was 83 when I.
But I mean, in 77, when you go to the game, I'm assuming you went to the game.
Oh yeah, I had to go to the games.
Was that hard? Different? How was that?
Yeah, well, no, it was. I try to put. Sometimes I'd want to think about, I'd really mad, or I became a fan just like
like the rest of those guys.
But I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Sure,
I was kept my mouth shut. But I'd look and I'd say, I don't know if I've done that. And a lot of people would ask me. That's the reason I go down in the field now and sit down in
that way you don't get bothered.
I don't get bothered by anybody.
Just me. I'm only me.
Me and Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy sits down there with him, on the football players. And me and him hash it out all the time.
That's good. That's good. Okay, well, let's get into that 1976 season, Herb. Tomcats really have a great year. You finished 9-3 that season, and you go deep in the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. As we mentioned, you got Gary Thomas, so that's a heck of a start. You got one of the best running backs in national history to hand the ball to, and you all handed it to him a lot. You opened the season against Russell, very unusual. I don't know that Ashland's maybe ever again opened the season against Russell.
No, I don't think so. And I don't even know how that happened. I don't know how that game like that we opened up with it.
It's very interesting. And as you pointed out, before we got started here, that was actually Ivan McGlone's first game at Russell as a head coach at Russell, and the Tomcats win that one 28-0. You're facing the wing tee. That's a different kind of offense, isn't it?
Yeah, we hadn't seen that. since I'd played, as far as I can remember, I don't know us ever playing a wing team. But we did pretty good.
Yeah, you shut them out. That's pretty good. And I think they're learning it at that point.
Yeah, they're learning it.
They're making some
was a good
mistakes.
football coach, and you could tell he was going to be good.
Yeah.
But some of the things they were doing and trying to do, and it's just like you said, this is a new system coming in. He's got to put his offense, defense in that those kids have never seen before.
Right. So it's going to take them a few weeks.
It's going to take them a couple of years.
Yeah. But they end up, a couple of years later winning state championship.
Yeah.
So obviously he's a good coach. And he won another state championship. Yeah. So he won twice. So in that Russell game, Gary Thomas doesn't disappoint. He goes for 101 yards, scores 20 points. So he scored 3 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. And Jay Shippey, the rough and tough fullback, I mean, I tell you what, that guy, he could run through a brick wall, I think.
Yeah, I thought we always ran him more than what we got. I look at the times he's carried the ball. And everybody's always on me about running up inside. Well, we didn't run that as much as I thought.
I mean, he ran about 10 times a game, looks like, 10, 11 maybe, which isn't, that many.
No. You'd think your fullback run a little more.
Yeah, and you all run the wishbone, I guess, I'm assuming. Danny Miller was your other halfback.
Danny was a good back. Danny really developed into a good back. Both of the Miller boys, Dean, they played the end, and he developed into a good end and a good defensive player.
Yeah, those were both Rex's sons, and who you played for in high school, and so that's good heritage there.
Yeah, and Coach Miller was very, he never bothered us, never came down and watched the film maybe with us 10 minutes, but he was tickled to death. His boys were out there playing, and they did a good job, and it was easy to coach.
Mm-hmm. So the team that comes after Jaws, man, they put the clamps on Russell, 28-0. The next week you play MC Napier, and you beat the Navajos 55-6 at Putnam Stadium.
I think, didn't we play them in 67?
No, I don't think so. Not 6-7, maybe 6-6. I don't think 67.
Yeah, we played them one time, and I don't know how we got that game. See, we may have had that the year before, or did we have that played them the year before?
60.
Because they were in that one that year we were up there in the mountains. I don't know if they were the team that we didn't get to play, or if it was a Hazard.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I'd have to look at. Yeah, it was Hazard. You played a lot, and you played. I think you played maybe a Whitesburg or somebody back in then too.
Yeah, Whitesburg.
So, but yeah, MC Napier, of course, a mountain team. Again, Thomas has a great game, 117 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And Mark Conley, who's your nephew, who was the quarterback of this team.
Yeah, this team, Mark ran it.
Yeah, and he threw for 107 yards that game. Probably his best passing game of the season. I'm pretty sure that's true.
We didn't ever throw the ball that much, but he did a good job for us. But Mark started as a sophomore in the secondary.
Oh, did he start on the Jaws team?
Yeah. He started on the Jaws team. He was a safety on the Jaws team.
Yeah. So then comes Huntington East, and I think I'm almost positive that's Bob Sang is the head coach at Huntington East at that time.
Exactly.
And you're a good friend, who has done so much for Tomcat football, and of course. His son Rick played for you, one of your favorite all-time players, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So, interesting game.
And then Bob Sang, I played for him when he was assistant coach at Ashland.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I thought he hung the moon.
Oh yeah,
and
Bob was a real innovator on offense. Wasn't he?
He was a great offense, defense, special teams. He was one of those kind that always everything was detailed. You knew that they were well coached. And you had to have some awful good players to beat him.
Yeah, he usually had some. He was able to develop quarterbacks very well.
Oh yeah, they had a passing game. Always had good passing.
Yeah, he just which back in those days, passing wasn't a big deal.
Oh no,
and
you better run the football.
But Jay Shippey sure ran that night, and he clobbered him for 123 yards and a touchdown. They shut down Thomas and probably keyed on him a little bit, and he rushed for 60. But that game's at Fairfield, and you beat Huntington East 29-7. So you're 3-0, sitting pretty good, and you got a game at Bryan Station. And boy, you never know when you go to Lexington, what you're going to get. You're going to face somebody with a lot of talent.
Yeah,
and certainly that's what happened with this team.
I'll tell you what happened that game.
Okay.
There's a little incident that happened that ball game that only time it ever happened. And during the game, we were winning about 18-6. And for some reason, one of my coaches changed the call on the corner. It was we had 3 or 4 calls. If they run option, they like to run the option. How we could stop the option, and the quarterback liked to run. So we was going to give him different looks. He'd get an end, maybe coming down on him and make him pitch it. We'd have an outside linebacker doing it, or a tackle. See, so he had to do a lot of reading in time. But anyway, we closed him down the first quarter and about half of the second quarter. Then they come back and run a play, and nobody touched the quarterback. Well, that's something wrong there, because I always had somebody hitting their quarterback every play. And then it happened again. He ran about 20 yards and then 20 yards. And I started sending different guys in. I said, you go in here and you get the quarterback. That's who you're getting on this call. You get the quarterback. I'd run down, and he didn't get the quarterback. He didn't get him. And so they scored. They ended up scoring 3 times. I never did find out what was going on, and they didn't tell me that one of the coaches changed it up. Well, after the game, I was sitting there and I was mad. I was so mad I couldn't see straight. Mad at the kids, not the playing that should have been taking care of that. I said, I'll make sure that never happens again. Practice coming, they're going to be going to dark. And so one of the other coaches, Coach Ross, come to me and said, I'll tell you something. He said, so-and-so came to me and said it was his fault. And said he changed it up. I said, changed it up? Well, who gave him the opportunity to do that? What made him think he could do that? And he said, I don't know, but he didn't want to tell you. He wanted me to.
I'm sure he didn't.
And I said, well, I'll tell you what, when we get back to, I think it was just playing down at Lexington.
Yeah, it was Lexington.
And I said, when we get back, I'm going to be in my office. So you tell him, because I'm too mad right now to talk to him. That's what he told me. So, but he changed it up, and they just run crazy over them.
So they win that game 32-18, and like you said, maybe you're ahead 18-6, and it kind of goes south from there. Shippey has 90 yards rushing. Mark Conley passes for 84. Thomas rushed for 75. So you had enough offense to probably win the game.
Yeah.
You just didn't play the defense that needed to be played.
Exactly. We gave up too much points, too much offense.
Right. So at this point now, you're 3-1 on the season, and you got Greenup County coming in. Greenup's still kind of getting their footing after consolidation and everything, but it's a big school.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And they got some good players coming.
Exactly. Just think about what they did that next year, 77.
Yeah, they won 11 and 12 games.
Yeah, well, they were state large champs.
Right.
In 77. They had bunch of those kids back that started as sophomores.
Yeah, this was like Dunaway, Jim Dunaway.
Oh, yes. They remind me of the
Danny Wright,
the Jaws team, or more than anybody, the Jaws. I'm not the Jaws, but the 71-72 team.
Yeah,
that's the way we did.
Right.
And buddy. Then
so that was in retrospect, 41-12 beating them is pretty good victory.
Oh yeah, man, that's probably our best game we played all year. We flat got after them and hit them and hit them. And
they could not catch Thomas. He rushed for 218 yards, a couple touchdowns. Jay Shippey ran for 103. So your ground game was going. Your offensive line obviously was coming together.
Yeah. Anytime you see that, all them backs doing that, we had great backs. We had real good backs. But you got some very fine linemen too.
Yeah. And like you say, really started with Yancey. That's all you had.
Oh yeah.
Yancey ran.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Yancey was the starter, the only lineman on the whole front line. The ends and the 2 ends, and the whole other line. I think Yancey was the only one that started.
But they came back and they developed, and Holzaffel probably a big part of that, right?
Yeah, a big job. He took those guys, and we had a lot of guys no names. Nobody knew them very well.
Right, because they were all new. Barbersville. It's a game up there, and boy, it was a tough game. I mean, Barbersville had some good teams too.
You remember that game?
I don't.
Well, let me tell you something about it. That was the worst field I ever played on in my life. It rained so hard in the mud. You'd step in and you go 2 to 3 inches down, and it's so soft. Nobody could run.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like slow motion. We run, get 2 yards, 1, and fall down. No, they did the same thing. It's awful. And we got down there, and I told Bill Tom, I said, Bill Tom, I'm going to throw a pass to
Miller or Wilson?
No, it's
Rob
Ratliff. Rob Ratliff. I said, they'll never think of it as going to be Terran. Rob didn't play maybe a few plays a game. I said, and throw a backside flag to him, and if we can get the ball out there, we might be able to score. The pass was wobbly, and they couldn't get there to it. He caught it, and he was running, and I knew they weren't going to catch him because he had pretty good speed.
Uh-huh.
But both of them looked like slow motion. It seemed like he was never going to get to the goal line. It was awful. They were muddies. I tell you what, we took our to White Swan clothing, to get our uniforms cleaned all the time. I forget the name of the guy. He was a super guy that owned that place. But he told me, he says, the worst clothes we had, the uniforms to clean, so we'd clean 3 times.
And they were probably white because you're on the road.
I don't remember what color we were. I know one thing about we were in there after we got warming up. We looked like we'd already played a game.
Yeah.
It was all muddy and
rainy.
It was awful. I never played a game. I don't think the kids anybody had any fun, and I sure didn't.
16-8 was the final. Jay Shippey had 44 yards. I can see that maybe, and Thomas 30. Thomas, of course, obviously couldn't get loose.
No, we
So-
couldn't get it outside. We couldn't. It was all slow motion.
So he was, and I thought this was an interesting game you had the next week. You all played Hopkinsville.
Yeah,
That's a long way from Ashland.
Well, I tell you how I got that. Jay Callan played at Hopkinsville.
Okay.
I coached at Hopkinsville with Fleming,
Uh-huh.
Coach Fleming. Great coach, great man. And he had an open date. And I think he called me and wanted to know if he had a date to take the kids on a trip and like come up.
I was going to say, and it was here.
And it was here. And I said, well, we will. So let me look and see what we got. And if we got any that when we have if we have any opening for that next year when he called. So we signed a contract with him for 1 year. That's all he needed is 1 year.
That was great, right?
Yeah. Because they were always good.
Oh, yeah.
They'd won 2 state championships.
And a great game, probably a great game for you guys to play. You beat them 21-14.
Yeah, it was. It was a super game.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Gary Thomas, 172 yards rushing, scored 20 points again. Danny Miller rushed for 60. So he had that was maybe one of his better games to that point, at least. And, of course, he didn't get as many carries as Gary, obviously, but the next week you go to Portsmouth. Never easy going to Portsmouth. It never has been.
Worst game we played, I think, is in the early '60s when we were not early, but my early.
Yeah, you're early.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's the way we played.
Just played terrible.
No emotion. Didn't hit. It was didn't look like any Jaws team to me that played that game.
Yeah, and you lose that game. Yeah. 35-6, which that's a pretty good whipping.
Yeah, and then we got the Newport Catholic, who's I think about 8. I see what they're. I don't know what they're
ranked.
They were ranked in. They were a division lower than we, but they were really
good football team.
Yeah, they were really good.
And that, of course, that's at Putnam. You win that game. You lose to Portsmouth 35-6. You win Newport Catholic though the next week, kind of bounce back game. 21-7, good game. Thomas rushed for 164, scored a couple touchdowns, and Danny Miller rushed for 88 and scored a touchdown.
See, Danny did a good job for us running the football.
Danny was a good runner.
Danny didn't block. He was a good blocker. He was a good football player. Danny won too.
He sprung Thomas more than once, I'm sure.
Oh yes.
And so you get, now it's the Super Bowl again. It's Boyd County. It's the area Super Bowl. The Jaws team just demolished them 43-0. Worst margin, I guess, in the series history to that point for sure, because the game was always tight. I think this one was at Putnam, so it's back at Putnam, and Boyd County's again a pretty good team.
Got the big Tackett boys.
Tackett's back.
They got a lot of good kids back.
And again, this game determines, do you go on?
That's right. And I think they were maybe 8-2.
Yeah, I know it was for the district championship. They'd beaten Greenock.
Yeah.
And so this was going to be who wins it all, who wins the district, and who goes on, because you didn't go on if you didn't win the district.
Exactly.
So you guys, of course, you hadn't had a shutout since the first game of the year, but you had one here. You beat Boyd County, which I know tickled you, 22-0, and you unleashed Gary Thomas on him for 221 yards.
No, he had a great game that night.
Yeah.
Danny Miller rushed for what? 67?
67, yeah. A good game from him as well. So, again, like you said, when we talk about rushing yards like that for these guys, that means that offensive line is knocking people out of the way.
Exactly.
They're doing their due diligence anyway. And so, an interesting regular season, you are 8-2. Yeah, 8-2 in the regular season, and so you're going to the playoffs now, and you face a Boone County, who Northern Kentucky, never.
See, at that time, Boone County was really strong.
Yeah,
Boone County had come on. Like at one time, it was Boone County, Covington Catholic, Highlands, Dixie Heights.
Covington Holmes, Catholic. Yeah.
Well, Holmes wasn't.
They never have been great.
They were starting to go down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boone. I remember Boone being real good.
Yeah, they were.
Owen Houck was their coach.
Yeah, they were really doing a great job. It was back and forth, and who was getting out of that region all the time.
Yeah, not easy. That's talk about a tough region.
Probably toughest in the state.
Yeah, to get out of that. But, you guys get them at Putnam though, which it's just your turn to be home. That's kind of how it worked back then. And you beat them. I'm sure it was a cold, hard-hitting game. Hard-hitting night, 20-7, and Thomas rushed for 98, and Danny rushed for 68. So a good win for this team.
Yeah,
another good win.
Exactly.
And now, so you're in the state semifinals at this point because that's how the playoffs work.
Exactly.
The state at large semifinals at least, and you got Lexington Tates Creek, and that's O'Roy Walton, who got you back in 72 in the championship game.
Yeah.
And I don't remember all the pregame talk, but I'm sure it was this Tomcat team can't be beat and that kind of thing.
But he wasn't as bad as that week as he did
as he did in 72.
Oh boy!
But this game, Herb, I know was a heartbreaker. Tates Creek wins 14-13, and there was a controversy at the end. Was the extra point good or not? And who knows?
I've heard all kinds of things. Everybody in the end zone made a point to see me and
say that it was good.
Sometime
right?
said it was good,
mm-hmm.
And
who knows?
Jay Shippey said it was good.
Yeah. Jay emphatically said it was good, didn't he?
Yeah. Jay had after that he had a rough time because he was so mad.
He got in the ref's face.
The officials had to calm him down, but he played a heck of a football game, and he just. It looked good to me, Of course, from
the sideline,
close,
and you're wanting it to be good, obviously.
And you always think, if it's close, I always felt like this: if it's close at Ashland, we get it. If it's close someplace else, they should get it.
So let me ask this: Did you think about going for 2?
Yeah, we talked about it, and I said, "I tell you what, I think I was the one that decided to go for 1." I said, "We go for 1. What we can do, we line up again. We can stop them. They're not going to be able to stop us." We're not going to throw that ball again.
Mm-hmm. So the regulation, it was 7-7. Was it overtime?
Yeah, it was overtime.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So it was 7-7 regulation.
Yeah.
So neither team really did a whole lot.
We scored the first time we had it. We had it ball first. We took it in and scored.
Yeah.
And then back then everybody had a chance to score. Not who scores.
Right. I think everybody had. Yeah, they still do that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, start from the 10, and you get 4 play. Get 4 plays from the 10, and
Well, then it was when it was.
Well, actually, they probably scored first because then
exactly
right.
They scored
on a pass, I think.
No, let's see. They scored. I think we scored first.
Well, go because you missed the kick, and that ended the game, right? Didn't that end the game?
Yeah, but there was 14-13.
But if you missed the kick, then the game's over. If you hit the kick, it would have been tied. But that would have meant.
Yeah, let's see how that.
So I think it was second. But anyway,
I can't remember how that went.
I think they scored first and got the extra point, and then we're ahead 14-7. You all scored to make it 14-13. So then you decided to go for the tie.
Yeah, well, I felt like what my theory was. I think we were a lot better football team to run the ball.
Yeah, I
thought we could run the ball and get it in and score, and I didn't think they would be able to do it.
You're right.
And they got theirs. We threw a pass. If you remember, they intercepted it in the end zone. And Mark Conley went up, and the ball was thrown. He had the guy covered, but when he went too soon, and he started back down,
and they caught it.
And the guy was big in. He went up and caught the ball up way high, and come back down.
So that's how they got their touchdown in overtime. Yeah, or it'd have been over.
Yeah.
So, well, interesting. Anyway, tough loss, 14-13. And I don't know where you would have gone next. I think it would have been here, actually. One of the West teams would have had to come to Ashland because
Well, it should have been,
the year before you had to travel.
Yeah, we had to travel.
So that would have been a great advantage.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was Henderson County maybe that was good that year, but I can't remember it anyway.
Yeah.
Tates Creek gets to play them at home, and you know that's the end of the season. You go 9-3.
Tates Creek got beat up too.
Is that right? Yeah. Gary Thomas ends up the year with 1,393 yards, and something we've mentioned once before. He was a first team AP All-State, first team Courier Journal All-State, second year in a row.
Yeah.
So that's something else.
That's really big.
Yeah.
Really big.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Yancey Ramey should have made first team All-State. He was second team All-Stater, I believe.
He was.
He should have been first teamer, and I was very upset when he didn't get it because I called him down there. I said, "This kid is one of the best football players in the state, especially linemen." I said, "He's got agility, big, strong."
Oh yeah,
and
he's as good as anybody.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
Yancey's about 6'3", and he carried about 250.
He was good. He was a great player. So this, you know, it concludes your Tomcat coaching career, which, you know, you end up 70 wins, I think it is.
70.
70 wins, and really a great career, you know, when you look back at it. And, you know, it's been so fun going back and looking at each season and how different, you know, each season is a little different.
Exactly.
There's things that happen.
Up and down, and
that's just the nature of the game, isn't it?
Exactly.
But overall, you know, once you got over the hump there in 1970, winning that Ironton game, you know, you look back on big games in your career, that's got to be up there as one of the biggest.
It's one of the top
five.
3. Yeah, even big top 5.
Yeah, for sure. Just because
the situation,
you may not have been coaching after the third year.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah, I don't think I would have been.
Your whole everything changes.
Yeah.
For you.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, you'd have probably still taught or whatever, or you'd have gone somewhere else and coached. You know, I can't imagine you'd have not coached for.
No, I know.
You'd have had to go somewhere.
I've been someplace.
Yeah, assistant or whatever. You know, head coach, whatever. But you know, you look back on it, Herb, and some great memories, though, right? And great players.
Yes. Oh yeah. You know, all my coaches, I would say they were really good. They worked hard. Good coaches. Every one of them could be the head coaches. And you know, I think Marsh he was my junior high coach. Did a great job there. Ended up being the winningest football coach in Ashland history.
Right.
Won a state championship. You know, I always think that Big Marks has never got the credit.
Yeah, Big's a great coach.
He's a great coach. He's a great person.
Yeah.
And you know, he was all about his team.
Yeah.
And that's.
And he coached a long time. And he coached, you know, and it's interesting. You're kind of an interesting character to me in Tomcat history because you start out as a big fan when you're a young boy.
Yeah.
You know, watching Don Clear and Ralph Clear and some of those Tomcat teams of the 50s, early 50s. And then you end up as a sophomore, you know, which was very highly unusual back in those days.
Yeah.
You end up playing, not just making the team, but you get to play.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have a great career. You're playing on a 10-0-1 team. Jake Hallam brings you back to Ashland as an assistant coach in the mid-60s, 66, I guess. And you coach there, and you coach on a state championship team, which was just great, 67. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know great memories there. And then, of course, your head coaching career and some of those 71, 72, and the Jaws team and this team, and really all of them. Yeah, well, I mean, they all have special memories.
Mark, I've been blessed. You know, really, I look at it, my career as a player and as a coach. You know, in 58, well, when I was a sophomore, I got to be a starter. I started defense and offense. Not many sophomores ever did that.
Right.
See, then when we were a senior, we were the number 1 team in the state of Kentucky.
Right. Just didn't have the playoffs.
And didn't have playoffs, but we ended up in Courier Journal. Had us as the number 2. They had Flagier back then as number 1. I think I've told you that story before, but I won't go into it. But we ended up being the state champs.
Yeah.
And I think of that part of my career, and then I come to Ashland as an assistant coach. We win a state championship. Right. Then I become the head coach, and we
win the State At-Large championship.
Win the State At-Large championship, and we, you know, a lot of great things. Of course, all that I tell everybody. Great players, buddy, make people become better coaches or great coaches or whatever. But if you don't have them, you're not going to.
You know, it even goes on with you. I think even your oldest son, Greg, played for the Tomcats,
Yes.
played football, and was the quarterback on a really good team in '82
Yes.
that made the state semifinals.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. And I tell you what, that team, had a shot to win it all.
Yeah.
And they beat Bryan Station, won out 2 times. See, they played Bryan Station twice that year.
Bryan Station had several future NFL players on their team.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah,
You know,
3 of them.
One guy was all pro out of that group.
I thought 2 of them were.
Maybe 2,
I
yeah.
thought 2 were.
So you got to be a dad fan.
Yeah.
You're always a fan through it. I know you even did some radio with Dickie.
Oh, yeah.
Several
I did
years.
that for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, including the 90 team, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you got to watch, one of Ashland's greatest teams too.
Exactly.
You know,
but I feel like part of that team.
Yeah.
When you get to do that, and I knew a lot of the kids, and so it's.
I know. I think it was their 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary. I had a guy play a simulation game between 90 and 75, and man, those guys still took us serious now. I'm telling you.
They did. They sure did. Because that 75 bunch come to me, said they had us. I said, well, I don't know about that. They beat us or not. I should have been a heck of a football team. But
Great.
Everybody had their own. I had different people tell me, say, well, I think 75 team. Think about it, in the area that knew a lot of the people and fans, they would tell me that 75 was better.
Yeah.
People that were in the 90 area, they said that 90 team was better. So that's the way.
And then you got John Rajunas from the 60s who says the 67 team would have beat them all.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That 67 team was as good as any of them.
Yeah.
They were good. They were
all
tough.
a little different, all similar though. All
exactly.
could run the ball.
Yeah, we all ran the ball. They're all tough kids.
Yeah.
They're good kids. They wanted to win. And that's just like the 58 team I played on.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, if you start lining up people and go place by place, we were pretty cotton picking tough.
Hard to beat that team.
Yeah, and we had big kids. We had a tackle 6'7", about 230.
Yeah.
And both ends were 6'3". We had some big kids. A lot of our players went both ways, but we played all the sports.
Yeah.
All athletics.
I want to talk about a few players from '76 before we get away and end this episode. But one of them we talked about a little before. He was a junior that year, but it's Dwayne Porter.
Oh yeah, Dwayne is a super young man. And when I was my senior year, or he was his junior year.
Yeah, it was his junior year. Your last year was his junior
year. Yeah. And he was small.
Mm-hmm.
He was small, and he tried real hard and gave good effort. And then I talked to him a few times about being small, and maybe we could get him in. We got him to play as much as we could.
Mm-hmm.
But he became a good football player for him his senior year.
Yeah,
he was a
good receiver, and as a senior,
yeah, he
played a lot.
He played a little outside linebacker for him.
He's just such an accomplished athlete. I mean, he's a weightlifter.
Hey,
he's
let me tell you something. I didn't know he was a
boxer.
Big good boxing. He played at University of Kentucky. He started on the kickoff team.
Isn't that something?
And he played the offense. He played on the defensive team. He did everything. And he played. He was a boxer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He boxed. If anybody wanted, he's a chiropractor, and you go over to his office, he's got pictures in that place in there.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, Dwayne, I didn't know you did all this. I said, you've done more than any football player or basketball player. Or, I don't know. He might have played basketball for Kentucky.
Who knows? He probably could have. I look over this roster. One guy, Dave Early, who did play a lot on the Jaws team. He was, he filled in.
Yeah, in the 76 he started.
75, 76 he started. Obviously, he's a senior.
So
him and Yancey on the same sideline, maybe.
I think so. I think Yancey. I believe we moved Yancey to the strong tackle, and we kept Yancey to put him strong guard and put Dave at
tackle. Yeah. And then you had another good guard in Mike Sparks, a good
Mike
linebacker.
Sparks was a good one.
He's a good football player.
He played good outside linebacker for us. He started a lot in that. In '75, he played a lot of linebacker for us.
Kevin Ward was a junior that year.
Good running back for
good
us.
Player, good football player.
He started a defensive end.
Yeah.
And he was kicked extra points.
So he was a real good player. I'm just kind of glancing through here. Of course, like I say, your nephew Mark Conley was a 2-year or a 3-year starter eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much some of these other seniors played. To be honest, you had Dean and Danny, of course.
Dean and Danny. Well, Danny started as a halfback.
Right. Danny had a great year.
Starting halfback, and then Dean played split end for us, and he played a lot and defensive team.
Yeah, Rob Winans was a good player.
Rob was a good player. Rob played he was an inside linebacker.
Right. And
we played him at a guard. They listed him.
They listed him as tackle, but yeah.
I think he played guard and tackle.
Yeah. So, Andy Moore's on this team. Just thinking of names people would recognize on here. Greg Alley.
Yeah, Greg Alley. Greg was a big kid. He played, but he's I think junior and senior year.
Yeah, and
I don't think
Dave Arthur was on this team as.
Hey, let me tell you something. There was a football player.
Yeah.
Dave Arthur was strong. He started as
I was going to say started sophomore, didn't he?
Yes, he started as a sophomore.
Yeah.
He didn't start the first couple of ball games. He eventually told me, as time has passed by, he said, I was the best end you had. You wouldn't start me.
Oh, that's funny.
I said, well, you wasn't ready at that time.
He's, of course, his dad, was a great Tomcat.
Yeah, and he's a great Eastern player, too.
Yeah, and a great person.
I remember his dad playing, and all those guys are my heroes.
Oh, yeah.
I watch them all play.
I love Gary. He's a good man.
Yeah, back
good
in those days, Betty, when their B team would play on Saturday mornings, and I'd always, after a Friday night ball game, I'd go over Saturday morning and watch them play. They'd pile up. I'd never seen this. All of them looked like they're 22 laying on.
Can't even imagine.
I'd seen them come out there with their teeth knocked out. It's unreal.
Yeah, that was some football back then, wasn't it? It really was. So anyway, great year in '76. When you look back at it, 9-3 seasons, semifinal run to before losing a heartbreaker there, and you're thinking that might be your only overtime game, right? That you can remember, because of course they had ties through a lot of your career, obviously.
Yeah, that's it. I think
that was only overtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Overtime.
We talked about Steve Clark, Jerry Clark's son.
Oh yeah.
See, he played. He started defensively a lot for us.
Okay.
And he started in '76.
Yeah, I look at this list. There's lots of sophomores, so I could see why you would maybe want to come back and coach it, Herb. I mean, that '77 team, there was a lot of people returning that were pretty good football players.
Yeah.
You'd lost some skill for sure.
Oh yeah, that's just like I say this about Mike Kozappo took the job after I left.
Right.
They didn't have the. It reminded
they didn't have the skill people.
Yeah. They remind me of the 68 football team.
Right, coming off the great couple of years.
Yeah. And I've got it written down someplace. I said, talked about if they'd give Mike Kozappo 3 years like he had me, and let him come back one more year after he started.
He'd have been okay, wouldn't he?
He'd been fine.
Yeah.
He'd probably stayed there 15, 20 years because
I think that third year was tough. It was 1-9, and I'm thinking if he won 3 or 4, maybe they leave him alone.
Yeah, well, see, he was about. I wouldn't know much. His first 3 ball games, I think he just won 6 games or something.
Well, yeah, his first 3 years he won 7 total.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he was 3-7, 3-7, 1-9.
I was about 14. Won about 14, lost 60.
But it's interesting because that '79 team, which finished 1-9, they play Ironton in the third week of the year. They lose to Ironton 6-0. Ironton is undefeated and wins the Ohio State championship.
Yeah.
Ashland lost 6-0.
Yeah.
And I look back at that season, and there's so many just close games and just heartbreaking losses, really.
Exactly.
14-0 to Greenup, who was a very good team, lost to Boyd 7-6. Those are games that that they could have won.
Yeah.
A break here.
Yeah, they were. So, I think they just that couple years there. They just they were good kids, but they just didn't go in a very quick team, big team. It's a lot of facets there that they didn't have to make you a good football team.
Right.
And I thought he did a good job with them. I really did.
Yeah. So anyway, this wraps up our last episode of with Coach Conley's seasons. We've had a lot of fun reminiscing. I hope you've had fun listening to some of the stories and just some of the great players. I know Herb and I have had a great time remembering some of that, or trying to remember. Both of us struggle a little bit on that. I don't know what we'd do without our book here. We'd be in trouble. But it's it's been a lot of fun, and we're gonna look at your playing career next, and then I'm going to get on to some other people, and we'll see what happens from there with Tomcat Tales. But thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.